Welcome to Tampa. The matchups, well, we could have left the graphic virtually the same. Same two teams that met here last year. Ohio State number 23 against the Gamecocks of South Carolina, the number 14 ranked team in America. Part of the pregame show still going on. The parachutists have come into the stadium. First, the American flag coming in. Then the flags of Ohio State and South Carolina. And here comes the flag to make it official for the Outback Bowl for the year 2002. Everybody, Ron Franklin along with Mike Godfrey. We trust that you have had a good New Year's Eve, are up and ready to enjoy some good football today, because I think we're going to have an entertaining show right here. Last year, same two teams. And Mike, who does it give an edge to when you come back and play each other again the next year?
Well, I think, Ron, both these teams are coming in on highs. South Carolina beat their rival Clemson. Ohio State beat their rival Michigan. But I think the advantage has to go to Ohio State, because all their players all week have talked redemption, revenge. So let's see what happens on the field.
Last year on the field, Derek Watson, the excellent tailback for South Carolina, suspended. He didn't play. Young guy by the name of Ryan Brewer, who hails from the state of Ohio, had an absolutely unbelievable afternoon. It was storybook. But it sets up a good thing for this year, because Watson is off the suspension list.
Ron, this is going to be a game of whoever runs the football the best wins this football game. Derek Watson's an outstanding running back, running for an average of 94 yards per game. On the other side, Jonathan Wells. We've had him 2 times, Minnesota and Northwestern. He's a hot running back, 143 yards rushing. He's averaging. So the team that runs the ball the best wins this football game.
Well, the Steve Belisari situation has been well documented. He was suspended for DUI, had his captainship taken away, and he has been reinstated by his head coach today. And we are going to see him. We don't know if he's going to play quarterback, wide receiver, safety. We know we're going to see him in a reserve role and also playing special teams. Craig Krenzel is the man who started in Michigan. You talk about a storybook afternoon. He's getting his second start here today. Talk about that situation, Mike.
Well, he won the biggest game of the year, the Michigan game. So he's 1-0. But I expect to see Steve Belisari at the quarterback position or on the field in the first or second series. As early as that, I think it's a great decision by Jim Tressel and the coaching staff to give him another chance.
Couldn't agree more. Let's go back and look at the summary from last year's ball game in 2001. South Carolina won it handily, 24-7. The rushing yardage in the ball game, that was the difference. And look at Brewer, 214 all-purpose yards. A young fella, as I said, who hails from the state of Ohio, but he was passed over as far as recruiting by the Buckeyes, so he had the incentive last year. Just an absolutely gorgeous day as we look at the weather conditions here in Tampa. This is what we can expect. It's 52 degrees now. Humidity 61%. Clear skies. Wind is not really a factor. Not expecting rain. And the situation down on the field with the coin toss. South Carolina won the toss and they defer. So we will get an offensive look at Ohio State to begin this New Year's Day in Tampa, Florida. Adrian Karsten, the third man always on our team. Happy New Year, big fella.
Happy New Year to all of our college football fans, Ron, and to you as well. There is probably no other football player on this Ohio State Buckeye football squad that represents how far this football team has come in the last 365 days. Joe Cooper, rare, second-time team captain, voted most inspirational player of this team, and for good reason. It was he, coming off this field a year ago today, who made this same bowl the goal of the Buckeye football team. With all the problems they had, it was Joe Cooper who stepped up and intends to step up today, from what Jim Tressel tells me, and be the leader once again.
Yeah, Adrian, boy, your point's well taken, because so many of the players, Nicky said that, you know, they got on that bus and they said we were embarrassed at our performance here last year. Jonathan Wells was another one of the Buckeyes, and they said we want another chance at a better performance. 2002 Outback Bowl underway. Hall from just inside the 5, and he's going to return it back out almost to the 30-yard line. So the starting lineups. Talk about storybook finishes. Craig Krenzel, only his second start here. He goes to the big house and wins the biggest game, a game that Ohio State had had a lot of trouble in capturing over the last decade. He's got Jonathan Wells behind him and big Jamar Martin. Jenkins and Vance, the wide receivers, and Darnell Sanders is the tight end. Jacobs is going to get the start at center. Charles Bentley, the All-American, a bone bruise against Michigan. They said it was going to be a game-time thing. So they go with the run straight ahead, and we'll talk as this opening quarter goes on as to what kind of difficulties that presents for the Buckeyes. Here is the group up front. Jacobs, he's got Stepanovich and Bishop flanking him. Adrian Clark on the left side, and Tyson Walter has had to go out to that right tackle spot because Shane Olivia, the sophomore out of Cedarhurst, New York, broke a bone in his ankle against Michigan.
They'll be challenged by Langston Moore against Mike Jacobs. Be a good matchup all day for South Carolina.
But Charles Bentley looking on the sideline, and you know that he's heartbroken. Last time around, senior All-American and unable to start. Tries to string it out, and Wells going to be bumped out of bounds on the near sideline at around the 35, and it'll be third down. They'll need about 4 for the first as George Gause makes the stop. He is the youngster from Conway, South Carolina, still feeling his way, but has terrific speed. What about the defensive backs?
It's a good tackling secondary, and it's 2 corners, Sheldon Brown, Andre Goodman, 2 of the best in the SEC.
First third down situation, and it comes quickly for Ohio State. Do we see Krenzel put the ball up for the first time of the afternoon? Yep, going to try. Rolls outside the pocket. Now he's going to run for the first down. Kenneth Harney forces him out of bounds. It's a gain of 7, and the sticks will move.
When Ohio State beat Michigan, the game plan was simple. Run the football, protect our young quarterback, Craig Krenzel. Now, you get in third down situations, Craig Krenzel makes a good decision on the first third down play to run for the first down.
Boy, Mike, that is so important. You see kids who have great athletic ability, but are not good decision makers. And kids that come in and accept that immediately sure helps the coaches. Wells hit at the line of scrimmage. There's absolutely nothing there. Is coming up out of the secondary phase on along with Dennis Quinn. And
that's what you're going to see out of South Carolina. They know Ohio State's game plan against Michigan is going to be the same game plan today. So you're going to see 8 and 9 people at the line of scrimmage on first and second down for South Carolina.
Kalimba Edwards, the All-American defensive end and linebacker, unable to play. I mean, how do they have to reconstruct things, Mike?
It's a big loss, Ron, but Goss is a good player, but the leadership you lose when you lose a Kalimba Edwards.
Gets this pass complete to the tight end Hartsock, and he will fall down at the 45. And again, Ohio State, it's almost like winding up with those 6 and 8 foot par putts. It's not a high percentage situation. They're going to have third and long. They're playing behind the sticks instead of ahead of the sticks.
Yeah, third down, and Steve Belisar staying right by Jim Tress on the sideline. Now, he helped Craig Krenzel a lot on the sideline at the Michigan game.
The line to make just across midfield to the South Carolina 48-yard line. Blitz coming off the corner. Krenzel steps up. He gets by the first defender. Going to be hit, and the pass almost complete. And that was Harney hanging all over Big Craig Krenzel.
When you have an inexperienced quarterback, you're going to challenge him early, and that's exactly what Charlie Strong, the defensive coordinator from South Carolina, they're going to send him from the secondary. They're going to pressure him, and now Craig Krenzel misses the tackle here, almost gets away with one right here. Kenny Harney pressuring him also.
First punt of the afternoon. Andy Groom, you see his average 45, his longest 67. Ohio State is signaling, do they have enough men in the field? They were looking to the sideline. Coming after him, and they overrun the block. This is Brewer from the 16-yard line. And Brewer is going to be hit and tackled immediately at the 23.
Well, they had that punt, Ron. They had it blocked. And a good job by the Ohio State punter.
Now let's take one more look at it.
Open on the right side. It's a nice job of placing
Michael Flint is the man who
by Andy Groom
had the clear shot at making the block. Couldn't get there. So Phil Petty comes on in The Gamecocks with their first offensive possession, and they come with a reverse. Here's Brewer. Cuts back in behind the blocking of his big left tackle. And Laurel Johnson also out front, and he gets whacked.
Now that's a good call. Getting Ryan Brewer involved right away. Mike Doss put a lick on
Phil Petty, the young man out of Boiling Springs, South Carolina. He will have behind him today, and we'll see a multitude of backs. But the two-back set is Derek Watson and Andrew Pennick. Brian Scott injured a knee earlier this week. He is playing. Brewer, and the tight end is Trafford. This is Big Pennick. And Pennick will take it to the 35-yard line. That is enough for the first down. We also will see Corey Jenkins, who used to be a backup quarterback. As we look at the offensive line, this is a very good group. Laurel Johnson, the man in the middle, they moved him from tackle to center a year ago today, and that's when this offensive line really came together and met.
And Ron, this game will be decided by both these fronts and defensive linemen. Tim Anderson, a former high school wrestler, understands leverage, so watch him today.
Watson moves out to the slot, top of the screen, and it's going to be quarterback draw. Petty, whoa, he gets whacked at the line of scrimmage. That's Cooper along with Matt Wilhelm, and he's going to lose about a half-yard in the play. The linebackers for Ohio State, Joe Cooper, as you just saw, he is a playmaker along with Wilhelm, who had a great game against Michigan. What about secondary?
Two new corners, Dustin Fox, Richard McNutt. So South Carolina try them early.
Second down and a long 10. Just underway, if you just joined us from Tampa, Florida, the 2002 Outback Bowl. And Petty zings it, has it complete at the 45-yard line to Brian Scott. Brian stepped in a hole in the practice field this past week. His knee started to become inflamed, but he catches that one for 10 yards. They were not sure if he was going to be able to go. He's their MVP on offense. 40
receptions this year. He's the best wide receiver on the South Carolina football team. He's their long ball threat. And again, Ohio State starting two new corners for the first time in this football game.
Pennick, the lone setback. And now a flag comes in.
Substitution.
Schilder broke the huddle with 12. That's the reason for the flag. Conference USA, our officials in this ball game today.
South Carolina football team around a heavy veteran football team. 13 senior starters on this club.
Moves away from the shotgun. It comes under center. Has Ohio State stirring on defense. They try to run a little counterplay, and Pennick is going to have maybe 2 yards, and that's it. So they're going to have a second down and 13.
It looked like Ohio State linebackers saw something there in the stance of the offensive lineman because they were pointing to Andrew Pennick.
Cooper helped out on the stop along with Smith.
Yeah, see Joe Cooper right there. Joe Cooper's reading the offensive line or the back stance on that play.
Well, he's off to a good start. We have called his name several times already. Second down and long. They show blitz. And now here comes Cooper, but they pick him up nicely. Pass well overthrown on the far sideline. And all of a sudden, South Carolina is going to be confronted with a third down and long, about 13.
Joe Cooper, again, very active as a linebacker in this football game. Number 10, Joe Cooper, 5 tackles for losses, trying to time up the blitz. He's one of the football players, Ron, that said we have unfinished business down here in Tampa. So he's trying to talk it and trying to walk it.
Well, Ohio State coming up very tight on the outside. Come with the blitz. Pass right over the middle, and it is dropped. That was Alexander. If Corey catches that thing, he might still be running.
These are two similar football teams. They're blitz mixing the quarterbacks. They know it's going to be the running game going to decide this.
Kenny Peterson, the junior out of Canton, Ohio, is the man who was coming pell-mell. Petty did not have time that he could waste back there. That's the reason the pass was thrown quickly and just a little bit behind Alexander. Tyler Dean, the deep man. Kick is not going to turn over. Dean will gather this one at the 18-yard line. Vance still on his feet. He'll take it across the 35 to the 36. So Dean with a good boot. And we'll take a timeout. 8:49 remaining in this opening quarter. Buckeyes nothing and South Carolina nothing. Welcome back to Tampa, Florida. Also, Mike, he said Belisari was going to play everywhere. He was on that punt cover team just now.
Yeah, Jim Tressel giving him a chance in special teams. I still expect to see him on the offensive side somewhere in some position.
Mike Jacobs comes back in for his second series at center. Bentley stays on the sideline, draw play right up the middle, has 5 yards and counted off at about 7. That is Jonathan Wells, who had such a great day against Michigan. Harney with his third stop. But against Michigan, 122 yards, 3 touchdowns, and 23 carries. And it helped them jump out to a 23-0 lead in that game.
Ron, if you follow the fullback on Ohio State's offense, Jamar Martin, there's a good block again by the 6', 255-pound Canton McKinley product. You'll find the football.
Jamar Martin, as you know, in the 2 games we did with Ohio State this year, became one of my favorite players because this guy, soft-spoken, not demonstrative as far as getting the football.
False start on the offense. 5 yards.
He likes to catch the football, and that's a load when he gets out in the flat, Mike.
Yeah, 11 games he's only carried the ball 22 times. Steve Belisari on the field. Now he's a good running quarterback also. Gives you another threat back there.
Play action. Pressure is on him. And throws this one away. Jonathan Wells was the man who was out there.
And again, I like this decision. We've talked about it. Chronicle the choices he made. He made a mistake. And he paid for it dearly. Now is a chance for him to end his career on a positive note.
Third down, they need to take the football to the 45-yard line to keep this drive going. Belisari drills this one, has it complete at the 48. Nope, incomplete. Looked as though Jenkins caught it, and the official came from behind and said nope, incomplete. So it's punting time again for the Buckeyes.
He lost his footing. Michael Jenkins couldn't dig in. And Sheldon Brown with pretty good coverage. Again, the 2 corners of South Carolina, they'll blanket you.
Andy Groom stands back for his second kick. And I'll tell you, this is a tough high sky for Ryan Brewer, the single deep man for the Gamecocks. Gamecocks have got the return on. It's a short, wobbly kick. Has to call for the fair catch, and he makes it just short of the 35-yard line. Only 30 yards on the kick. Timeout, 7:37 remaining opening quarter, and the 2 clubs still feeling each other out. Back with more from Tampa after this. Tampa, Florida. Let's see what the Gamecocks come up with here, because we mentioned Corey Jenkins is going to play some fullback today, along with Pennick, along with Watson. Brewer will be in the backfield also, and this time they bring Watson out in a slot to the bottom of your screen.
They got him open out here. Derek Watson was about to get his first carry of the ball game.
Prior to the snap, false start on the offense. 5 yards.
Long layoffs, Ron. We've seen it in bowl games. Penalties, missed tackles. When you get 30 days off, sometimes fundamentals suffer.
Well, that's the truth, and both of these teams have kind of come out of the blocks spitting and sputtering rather than hitting on all cylinders. again. Watson comes out to the bottom of your screen, the right side. They line him up in a slot. That's Pinnock. Back as the lone setback with Phil Petty. And they give it to Pinnock. Hit it to line of scrimmage. He'll fight his way forward for a couple, maybe 3 yards before Peterson makes the tackle for the Buckeyes.
Final stop made by number 7, Kenny Peterson.
The explanation by South Carolina as to why they want to use so many different people this afternoon, like Jenkins has not played quarterback for the last 3 games or since Clemson, because they want to get their best players on the field. And he is a very, very good ball carrier. Here comes the blitz right up the middle. They pick it up nicely, and now the pressure comes on, and he's going to be sacked. Wilhelm along with Cooper coming up and putting the pressure, and the first time that Petty has gone down.
Well, Matt Wilhelm, the 3rd leading tackler on this Ohio State football team. And again, both teams have the same game plan in this football game. Ohio State trying to overload it. Here comes Cooper. He's being picked up by Andrew Pinnock. Wilhelm fights through the block. Joe Cooper also pressuring.
Cooper off to an excellent start. And as I mentioned earlier, Wilhelm with an outstanding game against Michigan, and he's carrying it over here to the bowl game. Petty on 3rd down and forever. The middle screen is dropped. Matthew Thomas, the freshman out of Pearson, Georgia. He looked up and saw a lot of silver headgears in front of him and dropped the football. Standing ovation for the defense.
If you're coaching in this football game, you're coaching field position right now. You're trying to win the field position battle.
Tyler Dane, his first kick, 39 yards. Chris Vance is the deep man. And Vance has the luxury of not having to look into that high sky. Makes the catch, hit immediately, and tackled at the 30-yard line. Wow, that was Crawford. 45 yards on the kick and nothing on the return. And the amazing thing about that is he did not violate the halo, but he was about an inch outside of it when the ball was caught.
Well, the next time you'll see a fair catch, because the ball hung up too long to wait for this catch, and good coverage by South Carolina.
So the Buckeyes take over with reasonable field position. Mike Jacobs again comes out at center. Craig Krenzel reports back into the ball game at quarterback. Krenzel gives it to Wells. They try the left side. Gets by the first linebacker, tackled at the 36-yard line. Jonathan Martin, the junior out of Columbia, South Carolina, makes the tackle. Well, coming up tomorrow, it's ESPN Wednesday Night Hockey at 8 o'clock. The Mighty Ducks of Anaheim taking on the NHL's top team with Brett Hull and the Detroit Red Wings. Detroit shut out the Ducks 1-0. That was back in November. Again, close to the 40-yard line. Stamper, John Stamper, a redshirt senior out of Anderson, South Carolina, comes over to make the tackle.
The 2 games we had Jonathan Wells against Northwestern, he had 22 carries, 179 yards, 3 touchdowns. Against Minnesota, 152 yards rushing and 2 touchdowns. So he's like playing on ESPN.
6 carries, 20 yards. It's a 3rd down situation. They need to take it to the 42. Krenzel wants to throw, steps up into the pocket, can't go anywhere, going to be tackled at the 40-yard line, and it's Langston Moore, the first one to get there. Rashad Faison, they walk him up so close. He's like inside where the linebackers are playing, and he's been around every play today.
They're playing run, and they're pressuring the quarterback. Craig Krenzel, they got an inexperienced quarterback that they targeted.
We're about to go under 4 minutes left in this opening quarter, and it's the 3rd punt of the afternoon by Andy Groom. Now, they almost got the first one. And South Carolina would appear that they're coming after the punter again this time. But Ohio State blocks it well, and the best kick of the afternoon by Groom. Brewer on the run, drops the ball, and boy, does he get a break? It goes out of bounds at the 6-yard line. I will give him credit for one thing. It is a very, very high and bright sky, and he lost it. It fell off his fingertips in a 54-yard kick. So it's no score. The Gamecocks and the Buckeyes. When we return, Phil Pat. The 2002 Outback Bowl from beautiful Tampa, Florida. And Adrian Karsten was right on when he talked about Joe Cooper and the kind of incentive that he had. He already has 3 tackles plus a sack.
This is where Ohio State's defense got to get something done here. When you back a team up inside the 10-yard line, you look for a turnover or a stop to, again, gain in the field position. War.
From the shotgun, Petty rolls back in his own end zone. Hit as he throws, and that one well overthrown. And everybody knows the rules in college football as Anderson really put the lumber on Petty. But the dangerous thing about this situation, rolling the pocket, when you pull those offensive linemen back in the end zone, a hold is a safety.
Yeah, both and Tim Anderson, really, the defensive lineman from Clyde, Ohio, Clyde High School, put a licking on Phil Petty. Now, both quarterbacks have gotten hit a bunch early in this football game.
Yeah, they really have, haven't they? Still no score, under 4 minutes to play. Petty, one of his first 5 in the running play. Watson hit by Mike Doss. First carry by Derek Watson. A little surprising that they're this late into the quarter.
Yeah, because he's the leading rusher on this football team, 94 yards rushing, averaging this year. Both secondaries are very active and good tacklers. Mike Doss, a very good tackler.
Mike Doss, a special teams specialist, also has a couple of block punts, one against UCLA and the other against Indiana. Third down, line to make is out at the 16, and Petty goes with a draw play. Watson cannot fight through the second wave of tacklers, and it's Mike Doss again on the stop.
Yeah, Mike Doss may be playing his last game for Ohio State. The leading tackler with 79 tackles. 2 interceptions versus Michigan. And Doss and Joe Cooper are leading this defensive charge.
I'm going to be anxious to see Belisari on the field in special teams. Tyler Dean to kick it away. I'm anxious to see if Vance is going to call for a fair catch. Eve Warrington. This is a rocket. Well over his head. Bounds at the 30 and goes all the way down inside the 20-yard line. Wow. Crawford downed it. That is a kick of 70 yards.
And that was big because Ohio State figured to get the ball around midfield.
Wow. Oh, man. Well, coming up on Thursday, 8 o'clock Eastern, the PGA Tour kicks off the 2002 season in prime time at the Mercedes Championship from Kapalua. Tiger Woods and the defending champion Jim Furyk leading the field of 32 from last year as our 4-round coverage continues through Sunday exclusively on ESPN. Now, the bowl record was 60 yards, but that is a personal best by him as well. 70 yards officially on the boot. Talk about flipping the field on a team. Wells, there is just not much there. Looks like changes on that offensive line, Mike, have really made a difference.
It really affects losing LaCharles Bentley just before the ball game. Now, they knew he didn't practice down here, but they expected to wait up until game time to figure if he could start. But Mike Jacobs has done a good job in there. I watched him, and he's blocking Langston Moore very well.
Well, Stepanovic has had to go from guard out to the right tackle spot. Or rather, Walter has. Stepanovic goes inside. So, like I said, 3 basic changes in the offensive line. And they haven't worked together before this situation. Going to go long. Belisari throwing, looking for Jenkins, and it's incomplete. Adrian Karsten, let's check with you on the sideline.
The significance of the injury to LaCharles Bentley, the starting center. Early in the game against Michigan, slightly separated his left shoulder. So Jacobs takes over. The point is, Ron, that he is getting help when he has to go to pass block, just in that previous play that we saw. Running, no problem. But without Bentley, they lose one of their best pass blockers, and that is the concern for Jim Tressel.
Okay. Well, the kid has All-American credentials, and when you take somebody that good out of a position and have 2 other changes on the offensive line as well, you're going to suffer a little bit. Belisari zings it over the middle, has it complete at the 30 to Darnell Sanders, and the ball is loose. South Carolina at the 36. Sheldon Brown has the recovery.
Nice pass by Steve Belisari. Darnell Sanders, they just stole the ball away from him. Curl route by the tight end. Makes the catch, turns upfield. And there's Sheldon Brown. Everybody's trying to pull that football out. They did it.
It looked like 99. George Goss reached in there and just pulled that thing away from him. Linebackers showing blitz, and here they come. Quick out. Scott hit immediately. That's a nice job defensively by the Buckeyes. You'll have a gain of 2. Kenny Peterson was out there to make the hit. That one closed up in a hurry.
You talk about a good job. Will Smith did a good job, and Kenny Peterson of reacting to the play. Quick screen.
Linebackers showing blitz. They come again, and this pass to the other side to Scott. Gets a block, and he's going to have the first down. Derek Watson, I beg your pardon, 22 rather than 82. And McNutt makes the stop on him.
What you want to do in this football game, if you're coaching in this game, you want to get the lead and force the other team to play to you. Now, one score won't do that, but if you get up by 10, then you force Ohio State or South Carolina to come out of their shell a little bit.
Watson, the lone setback on first down. Movement up front as flags go down. Spins off one tackler. Can't get by the second. It's going to be 5 free yards for the Buckeyes because Darian Scott is the man who jumped up front.
You don't think it was offside? Yeah, it's going to be offside.
Yeah, that's what I meant. He was not drawn.
South Carolina has played to their defense all year, and when they get turnovers, they've been able to cash in.
2 tight ends in the ball game for the Gamecocks, and 2 wide receivers come to the right. It's Derek Watson as the lone setback. Option play. Petty going to hold on to it. It's cracked down hard at the 18. That's not enough for the first down, but they were playing with a 1st and 5. Scott defensively for Ohio State.
Yeah, Phil Petty in this first quarter, and this quarter is going to end up right here in this play, has really gotten leveled in the pass game and then running the option.
Well, you made the point. Every quarterback who has played in the game has taken his lumps early. That's the end of the opening quarter, so we'll take a timeout. And as we have played the first 15, it's Buckeyes nothing, Gamecocks nothing. South Carolina is advancing. Welcome back to Tampa. Happy New Year, everyone. I hope this day has gotten off to a great start for you. It certainly has for us. Beautiful blue skies, very few clouds, wind not a factor, no rain in the forecast.
Andrew Pinnick, they like him in short yardage situations.
Brewer also lines up. Ball is loose and recovered by South Carolina. That is rare that you see a quarterback hit before he can make a handoff. And Mike, I think he got hurt. I think his ribs took a shot.
Well, the problem is you get set in a cadence and you call the same cadence all the time. Joe Cooper's timing up the cadence. But Andrew Pinnick is the guy they like on short yardage. They come back to him. Tried to get him the football, but Joe Cooper really timing up the snap count. Phil Penny's got to change it up.
Shane Hall got back on the football, and it's 3rd down. They need to take it to the 15-yard line. His linebackers bouncing around. Here they come in a blitz again, and the pass caught by Scott just inside the 10. It is 1st and goal, South Carolina. Well, our Outback Steakhouse game track. Medium rare, please. Belisari for Ohio State, 4 plays at quarterback, 1 of 4, 16 yards. And look at the 3 and outs. Ohio State, 3 of their 4 possessions, and South Carolina, 2 of their 3 possessions. fumble recovery by South Carolina, and we'll see if it leads to points.
Let's see if they go with number 4 right here in the middle.
Pennick, 5'11", 250 pounds. They give it to Brewer, though. Pennick blocking. Got one guy, but couldn't get the second. That's a nice job defensively by Will Smith. Also, Dustin Fox came underneath to help turn that play back in.
Yeah, Dustin Fox, the pass was caught in front of him by Brian Scott. And South Carolina's going to try those 2 corners this entire afternoon, but a good job on the run support on that play.
So this Ohio State defense trying to anchor in 2 tight ends, dead T in the backfield.
You need to stay on those 2 tight ends if you're playing defense, and the back's in the flat on the play action pass.
Petty gives it to Pennick, and wet hard at the line of scrimmage, and still fights forward down to the 2-yard line. Joe Cooper still with another hit and tackle for Ohio State.
Some players just know how to get to the end zone. Andrew Pennick is a touchdown maker for South Carolina. 10 touchdowns this year, and a lot of them in short yardage situations like they're in right now.
I mean, Cooper almost took his head off, but he didn't lock up, and that's the reason Pennick picked up those 3 extra yards. 3rd down and goal. Crowd coming to their feet across the way. Pennick again, left side, touchdown number 11. Travell Wharton, number 68, the sophomore left tackle, with an outstanding block in the touchdown run.
And they've got a good offensive line, Ron, and Travell Wharton might be the best of them.
With the extra point attempt, and he's good. 12 minutes, 37 seconds left in the opening half, and it is South Carolina who gets on the scoreboard first. And you can see Lou creeping up across the way, saying, yep, touchdown left side. We'll be right back. So you look at Pennick along with Brewer and Watson. The 3 young men that were lined up in the backfield on the scoring play. 8 plays, 36 yards, 3:49 off the clock, and it all started with a fumble. But it actually all started with the punt. Right?
Yeah, give credit to special teams in the punt game of South Carolina. Then the defense forcing the turnover on Darnell Sanders, tight end.
Bowers to kick off. 5 deep, and he's going to bring it out. Van Childress. Take it out over the 30-yard line. Goss making the tackle for South Carolina. Well, the MetLife Blip, Snoopy 1 cruising the skies of Tampa, Florida to provide aerial coverage of the Outback Bowl today. The Blip typically cruises at a speed of 35 miles an hour at an altitude of 1,200 feet. MetLife wishes you also a very happy New Year.
Ron, I don't think Ohio State can win this football game playing the quarterbacks like they did in the first quarter. I think you have to settle in on one, and I really believe the best one to settle in is number 8, Steve Belisari. He gives it the best chance to win this football game.
Well, he's back in the ball game. Play action, zips this one out, complete to Jenkins. Jenkins is a young fellow that played his high school football at Lido High School right here in Tampa. He was tackled by Andre Goodman.
And going back to the quarterback position, that's nothing to take nothing away from Craig Krenzel because he got the biggest win of the year. But Steve Belisari is experienced. He knows what he sees in the defense. He's a running threat as the quarterback position, has the better arm, and he has you've got the best chance to win with number 8 at quarterback.
So they moved the chains on that play. Boy, 2 tight ends and a fullback out to the left side, trying to get Jonathan Wells behind it, and it was diagnosed beautifully by South Carolina and Sheldon Brown, and he messes up the whole thing.
Yeah, Sheldon Brown's an All-American for a reason. He's good against the pass, but also very good in run support. Named first team All-SEC by the coaches, had 2 key interceptions in the win over Clemson, a high school running back that ran for 31 touchdowns.
Sheldon, the senior out of Louisville, South Carolina. Loss in the play, second down. They need just over 14 yards. Belisari almost intercepted. Closest person to that one that was for Chris Vance. But Rashad Faison was cutting underneath.
Had a shot at it. Ron, you talked the other day when we did the Alamo game about when you're on a hash mark in college football. It's not like the pros. Pro hashes are a little closer. So when you got to have a gun to get the out on the comeback, throwing from one hash all the way across the field.
Third down. Line to make is the South Carolina 48-yard line. Gamecocks lead it 7-0. Blitz coming off the corner. He is hit and almost intercepted. I don't believe it. Went right through Gauss's arms. They're going to give him what for on the sideline. Faison, we were just talking about him. They walk him up and he came crashing off the left side. Ohio State extremely lucky. 2 of those passes were not picked up.
A mistake by Jonathan Wells, the running back. He did not pick up Faison from the outside. Didn't block anybody. And Steve Belisari goes down.
Andy Groom has been a busy fella in this first half. Pressure up the middle, but he gets it away. End over end. Caught by Brewer wisely at the 28-yard line. And fights forward for what he can get, and it's going to be about a 10-yard return as Mike Dawson, the special teams, gets him down. 34 on the kick and 9 on the return. Well, coming up on Thursday, January the 3rd, College Game Day, BCS Championship Preview, 7:30 Eastern from Pasadena. Chris Fowler, Lee Corso, and Kirk Herbstreit with the final word before the BCS National Championship is decided. Then at 8 o'clock, it's the Rose Bowl presented by AT&T. Miami taking on the Nebraska Cornhuskers, all on Thursday.
Go back to that punt run. Andy Groom was affected by that punt rush early. That was a low kick.
Brewer was smart to come up and catch that thing and not allow it to hit the field. Wide open Scott inside the 35-yard line.
South Carolina smells blood right now. They're going after Ohio State. They know their defense is in charge. Brian Scott on the long throw here.
Nicky and Grant are just staring at each other like one thought the other had Scott, and you could see he just
did a nice job of getting his feet in bounds.
Yep. Good job by the offensive line for protection for their quarterback. With 4 catches, 58 yards. You see now why it was so imperative that he play. The MVP on offense this year. Watson can go nowhere. Wilhelm is right there to wrap him up. They have done a good job of keeping Derek Watson in check. But the man they have not been able to keep in check is Brian Scott, the senior out of Darlington, South Carolina.
Yeah, you got to commit to the run. Stop Derek Watson and Andrew Pinnick, and you put your corners on islands. In Ohio State's corners now, they got C. Grant in the ball game. McNutt on the other side.
Watson 3 carries for only 7 yards. Here comes the pressure up the middle and the screen to Pinnick. Pinnick 30. Whoa, does he get racked at the 27 by Will Smith? The only reason for my reaction like that is Pinnick weighs 250 and he handled him like a very small sack of potatoes.
Got hit hard, but watch the blocking set up here by the offensive lineman. You invite the guard and center, invite them in. Now everybody blocks downfield. They get a helmet on defenders. That's well blocked by South Carolina.
C. Grant is the man who was shaken up, and in fact, the best I remember in the Minnesota game that we had up in Minneapolis, he got knocked out, hit his head on the hard surface there at the Metrodome, and suffered a concussion and left that ball game.
2 interceptions this year by C. Linebacker, high school.
So it's 3rd down, South Carolina. 6 of 10 for Petty, 72 yards. Pitch back goes to Watson. Caught the ankle, but he breaks the tackle. Cooper comes back in to help him to stop along with Nicky, and it's just going to depend on where they spot this football. He is right on the marker. But did they shove him out of bounds before? No, they have placed it down a yard ahead of the marker, and it is going to be a 1st and 10 South Carolina.
That's where Ohio State's defense got to step up here. Your offense is playing poorly, and your defense has to step up here. You can't get 2 scores behind.
9 minutes, 30 seconds remaining in his opening half. South Carolina leads at 7-0 and driving again. Petty straight ahead with Pennick. And he'll go for short yardage, maybe 3, down to the 19. Adrian Karsten, we'll check with you.
A few minutes ago in a previous offensive series for South Carolina, when Phil Petty fumbled the handoff, which they did recover, he took a shot to his ribs and his left shoulder run, non-throwing shoulder. But what he has done ever since then, when he's been back in the game, is to hand off with his right hand. It doesn't affect him pushing off, getting help from his offensive lineman when he has to get an extra hand out there, but does have some pain in that left shoulder.
You know, Adrian, we said at the time on the hit that he got banged in the ribs and got up very gingerly. Watson caught from behind, spins off one tackler, spins off another, inside the 15 to the 13. Bullard will finish him off.
Going back on Phil Petty, he took a hit in the Florida game, got hurt in the Florida game before the Clemson game. There's a lot of people didn't think he'd play in the Clemson game, but he's been a good senior quarterback. Derek Watson just showing you a good running form. Supposed to play basketball for South Carolina when the football season's over today.
2 tight ends, dead T in the backfield, 3rd down and 2. And contact made at the line of scrimmage. Tim Anderson came across and made contact.
Ohio State losing a little composure here in this football game on defense.
You could see Tim banging himself in the headgear.
Prior to the snap, offsides on the defense, 5 yards, 1st down.
Do me a favor,
So South Carolina picks up the 1st down, don't even have to earn it. And it is 1st and goal as the ball just outside the 9-yard line. Bounces outside, maybe 1. Dustin Fox is there to make the hit on him. Dustin, a freshman out of Canton, Ohio.
Yeah, the Fox name, his uncle Tim was an All-American at Ohio State. His brother Derek played for Penn State. He's out of Canton Glen Oak High School. And the Ohio State players, our coaches, really felt like he was really showing progress in practice and gave him his first start.
8th play of the drive for South Carolina. Play action by Petty. And very wisely throws this one away. Watson is the man he wanted, but Will Smith was coming after him very strong, and Watson had double coverage out in the flat.
Yeah, good coverage again. Now South Carolina will come in now and open up the formation, Ron. Get out of that dead T. See if they can find a receiver, get a receiver open against Ohio State.
Gause and Scott check into the lineup, and Mike is exactly right. They will spread the formation now and try to spread out that Ohio State defense. You've got Watson and 2 wide receivers to the top of the screen. Brian Scott to the bottom. He draws single coverage. Keep an eye on him. Petty, fade route, looking for Scott. Got it. Touchdown. You were all over it. They spread it out, and they got the single coverage against the youngster Fox, and the fade route threw it right over him.
Yes, 6 foot 190, the freshman Dustin Fox. Brian Scott is 6'3", over 200 pounds, and the ball was thrown well by Phil Petty.
And give Scott credit, folks. He was looking back into that very bright sunshine and bright sky. Daniel Weaver tries to make it a 14-0 ball game, and he does. So there's a timeout. 6:54 remaining in this opening half, and so far it has been all South Carolina as Brian Scott tallies the second touchdown of the afternoon under beautifully clear blue skies in Tampa, Florida. Jim McVay and company do such a good job with this bowl game, and we really enjoy coming down here every year. Right now, South Carolina is making it a task for Ohio State. The Ohio State offense has not been slumbering. They have not arrived as yet. They better get something going here, or it's going to get out of hand.
Yeah, they get behind, then South Carolina forces you to throw the football.
Bowers to kick it off. Childress. This time he gets the signal to go down on one knee. Reese Davis will check with you.
All right, Ron, I'm going to get a little help from Rod Gilmore. Cotton Bowl, Oklahoma, Arkansas, Rod.
Points may be hard to come by in this defensive struggle on a 4th and 1. Nate Hibble to Trent Smith picks up the first down, and that would set up a touchdown run by Hibble. Watch him sneak it in over the right side here. Quarterback sneak, gets it in, and in this kind of a ball game, points like that will be important, hard to come by. Hibble doing well, moving outside the pocket, hitting passes.
You know, that Oklahoma defense doesn't need much as far as taking care of their own. Running play with Jonathan Wells straight ahead into the arms of Langston Moore.
Now, isn't this the first time Oklahoma's played in the Cotton Bowl?
In the Cotton Bowl, yes, it sure is.
I think they got a good matchup there. Arkansas came on toward the end of the season.
Had the good freshman quarterback who really helped them. But I can promise you, he saw some good defenses in the SEC. He didn't see one like Oklahoma.
No, they run to the football.
The pass, Wells almost intercepted by Faison.
Well, that was 21-0 right there if he held on.
I mean, Faison stepped up. It's like he had been in the huddle with Ohio State and knew what they were going to run.
Ohio State just offensively looks like they just have no confidence right now. And, of course, the quarterback situation, they bounced around in the first quarter, and they have not settled down. They haven't been able to run the ball. They haven't been able to throw it.
And that time, Belisari just stared him down. Wells from a motion situation. Belisari throws this pass deep over the middle, got it complete, and that's Jenkins. I think that's going to be the longest gainer of the day by the Buckeyes. It is 23 yards, and that's got the folks on the near side of the field aroused.
Yeah, by throwing the football around it, Michael Jenkins with a good catch there. It opens up the running game. It's still got to go back to Jonathan Wells. Jenkins, a 6'4" receiver with a good catch.
He's not only got good speed, Mike, he is a great leaper.
41 catches coming into this game.
Two tight end alignment, and they give the ball to Wells, and Wells puts a head down to the 50-yard line into the arms of Faison.
Yeah, you can't you go back to the loss of Charles Bentley. You can't speak enough about that. And you've chronicled the offensive line. You got 3 people playing in different spots, so it may take a while for them to get their run blocking down in this football game.
Belisari gets a block from big Tyson Walter, cuts it back up the sideline, 40 down to the 35, and he will move the sticks again. Jermaine Lemon finally makes the tackle, but it was Tyson Walter who hooked his man inside. The opening was there, and that's all Belisari needed to gain 17.
Well, Steve Belisari can hurt you more on the ground sometimes than he can hurt you in the air. Here they run the down the line option play. You're right about Walters, just shields off, and a missed tackle by South Carolina, and Belisari gets the first down. Very important to answer the score that South Carolina just had.
So the ball at the 33-yard line. Deepest penetration by the Buckeyes this afternoon, and they take it right up the middle, and down to the 29.5-yard line goes Wells, tackled again by Moore.
Yeah, Langston Moore is going to be active, Ron, in the middle. You've got to block him. South Carolina, they anchor him in there, 6'2", 300-pound junior.
Jim Tressel pacing the sideline, and he knows just exactly what Mike has been talking about. They've got to get something on the scoreboard, preferably a touchdown before halftime. Little counter play, nothing to the left side, so Wells cut it back to the right, and they're still going to have a third down and fairly long. Lemon on the tackle. Right now, live on ESPN News, the Coach Willingham news conference. Reese Davis with more at halftime about his accepting the job at Notre Dame.
Big play here on third down for Ohio State. Taking out Wells, bringing in the extra receiver.
Well, they need to take it to the 23-yard line. Quick pass, almost intercepted, and here comes a flag. The collision with Vance and Brown.
That's going to be on Shelton Brown, but it's lucky he didn't pick it off.
I'm telling you, Mike. Steve is really staring the receivers down. And that was a long throw. And against corners as good as the one South Carolina had, you're really asking for trouble.
Now the sideline here, they may get Ohio State for something over here, because right in front of the Ohio State coaches and players, the flag has just been thrown. Sideline warning. They're trying to back them up.
Against Ohio State.
They threw a flag for the sideline warning. Where here Steve Belisari can hurt his running the football.
Spread them out and quarterback draw.
Quarterback draw, the option play.
They're going to get a penalty here, Mike. They just broke the huddle with 12 people. Martin, they didn't get him off the field. They broke it, and Martin has sprinting toward the sideline, and he can't do it.
5 yards. It will remain first down.
No, it's tough to make 10 yards for Ohio State in this game, let alone 15.
Big Jamar Martin is hard to miss when he came sprinting off the field. So now it's first down and 15. South Carolina shows blitz. They come with it. They were looking for the quarterback draw, and Lemon is all over Steve Belisari.
Exactly what they were looking for, and on first and 15, and they brought the linebackers Jermaine Lemon, so there was no area that Ohio State could run that draw in. So a good defensive call by Charlie Strong, the defensive coordinator.
Keep waiting for him to swing the ball out to Jamar Martin. Watch the big fella ramble. Wells, they send him out in motion. This pass overthrown, looking for Vance. Now this Ohio State crowd is getting a little bit frustrated.
Well, they're struggling. You struggle and you lose your confidence. And Steve Belisari, they roll him out to the right side. He's a left-hander, and he just threw the ball high to Chris Vance.
Play of the drive. Clock is stopped with 3 minutes and 18 seconds left until halftime.
Ohio State not very good at kicking field goals this year, too. Only 10 of 24.
Belisari's got that one complete to Jenkins and tackled immediately at the 30-yard line.
They might have been the worst three play calls or play results that you've seen this year, because they went backwards, and the short pass play not picking up any yards.
It may have been a slip, but you were painfully honest on the first part of your sentence.
I think the quarterback draw is a good play call, and but a good call by South Carolina, but the pass plays.
Well, they're going to go for it. Down 14-0, and the clock running down toward halftime.
Tells you about their kicking game, the field goal kicking game, no confidence.
Belisari going to go long, far side of the field, and incomplete. Looking for Vance, overthrown. Sheldon Brown had him covered step for step.
That was not a good series for Ohio State.
We'll take a break. 2 minutes, 22 seconds remaining until halftime. Gamecocks with a 2-touchdown lead. Servicemen and women and their families watching this game around the world through the facilities of the American Forces Radio and Television Service. And I'll tell you some touching scenes before this football game today. Everybody in such a great mood as far as patriotism after what happened, the disaster on the 11th of September. And this just prior to kickoff today, the refueling of the helicopters coming over the stadium. And I'll tell you, there was a heck of an ovation when the Ohio State band left the field. And their performance of God Bless America. Right up the middle. This is Brewer. 35 and out to the 40-yard line. They're going to see all the way to the 42. Donnie Nicky will make the tackle. It's a gain of 15.
Ryan Brewer last year 214 all-purpose yards against Ohio State, the Troy, Ohio native. The MVP in this bowl game.
So they come with fresh legs in Brewer. Derek Watson goes to the sideline, and he comes up with a 15-yard burst on his opening play. Petty, play action, pumped it, got it too long. Matthew Thomas is a man that he wanted. Actually, no play action, but he did pump. And Reese Davis will check with you again.
All right, Ryan, coming up on the Dodge Halftime Report, we'll have some Cotton Bowl highlights for you. Tyrone Willingham's news conference going on over on ESPN News, and we had a chance to sit down with the new coach at the University of Notre Dame, and we'll also wrap up the best of bowl week, which certainly doesn't include my voice right at the moment, but we'll get through it. See you at halftime.
All righty, Reese.
You got to play hurt, Reese.
That's right. We'll be thinking about you eating our Outback steak at halftime. South Carolina calls a timeout with 1:56 showing on the clock. So we will take a break. 14-0. It's been all Gamecocks so far. Welcome back to Tampa. And a happy new year to you and your family. Gorgeous blue, clear, sunshiny skies overlooking this magnificent complex.
1:56 remaining in the half.
Raymond James Stadium decked out today for this January 1st bowl game as the handoff goes to Watson. Gets by one tackler, and he'll go over the 45 to the 47. Peterson defensively will make the stop.
We talked about Kalimba Edwards being lost to South Carolina and affecting their defense. Derek Ross out of this football game as a corner with a shoulder injury. Had 7 interceptions this year for the Buckeyes. So they're hurt a little bit on the corner spots.
Yeah, he led the Big Ten in interceptions this year. Had to have shoulder surgery, and he has declared for the NFL for next year. Third down. Quick pass complete. Scott again. Brian Scott has just not been a guy who could be stopped today. It's a gain of 12 yards. Dustin Fox made the tackle.
Too much cushion. Yeah, here. They've got Brian Scott anytime they want to throw him the football.
2 timeouts showing up on the clock for the Gamecocks. Scott 6 catches, 76 yards. What a catch by Thomas. That ball was behind him. I thought they were going to go long. They had brought Ryan Brewer out of the backfield and had him as the outside receiver, and he went on a post route.
Yeah, they're a good 2-minute drill right here. They got 2 timeouts left. South Carolina in complete control.
Blitz off the corner. Petty's pass almost intercepted and should have been by Dustin Fox. Don't know if that sun got in his eyes or what, but Will Allen was coming after Petty and put a pop on him.
Put an asterisk by that because that could have shut some points off. Dustin Fox has this thrown right to him. He's the receiver, and it just goes off his pads.
See that Scott fell down. So it stops the clock with 29 seconds showing. Blitz off to corner again. Going to go deep for the end zone and in and out of the hands of Thomas. You can see right off his fingertips as he laid out for the ball.
You can't throw it any better than Phil Petty threw it.
McNutt had the coverage, but he was behind him. Look at it again.
Had McNutt beat. I mean, that ball is thrown well. Matthew Thomas just couldn't bring it in. Off the fingertips, as you said.
Now it looks like Pinkins has just come into the lineup.
This is a big play right here in 4th down. Pinkins is the running quarterback, so maybe a draw.
Number 5 from the shotgun, and he's going to take it right up the middle. Nothing doing. Hit by Peterson. And with that, the special teams, the field goal unit will come on from across the way.
That was a big play, Ron. That changes downs for Ohio State. On 4th down, the Ohio State defense really did a great job on stopping the quarterback draw. When Pinkins came in the football game, I'm sure Ohio State linebackers were conscious of the draw and stopped it.
So Belisari comes back out at quarterback. And he will take a knee, and they will head to the locker room. South Carolina has had their own way in this first half. 14-0, and it could be higher. So we played the first 30 minutes of this year's Outback Bowl, and let's head back to the studio and Reese Davis. Reese, the National Events Band Across America halftime show. Nearly 1,600 high school students with their salute to America. Well, once again, everybody, Ron Franklin along with Mike Gottfried. And Michael, in the first half, South Carolina could have scored more than 14 points. Fortunate for Ohio State that they didn't. But you made the point that it just not in sync, this Ohio State offense. What do you think Jim Tressel talked about at halftime?
No, I think he's going to challenge his football team, both defensively and offensively, because I think even though defensively they played well, they give up too much yardage in the passing game. Brian Scott's been wide open, so they've got to mix the coverages up on his side. I think Steve Belisari is still going to be the quarterback in this football game for Ohio State, and they're only down 2 touchdowns, so they need to go back to the game plan and get Jonathan Wells back involved.
Just a few moments ago, Adrian Karsten had an opportunity to talk with Coach Tressel about what to look for in the second 30 minutes.
Coach, who gives you the best opportunity to win this game at this point, Krenzel or Belisari?
Well, I think we'll start with Steve. This is his last time in Garland Gray. He's given a lot to this program, and his teammates have stood behind him in good times and in tough ones. And we'll start with him, but don't sell Craig short. He'll get some time too.
Are you surprised, number one? Number two, disappointed you didn't come out and play better in the first half?
We turned the ball over and we let a field position thing happen, special teams, but we're going to play better the second half.
Appreciate it, Coach. Ron?
All righty, Adrian. So Steve Belisari will be the man to start the second half, and we'll see exactly how far they go with him as we take a look at the Outback game track. South Carolina fumble recovery leads to a touchdown in that first 30 minutes of play. Scott unstoppable, 76 receiving yards and a touchdown. It's just been open and caught everything they've thrown close to him. And for Belisari, numbers that they're just well below par. 4, 12, 51 yards. I still think, Mike, I still think you made the point back in the first half. Possibly the biggest play, even over the fumble, was that punt of 70 yards that flipped the field, and then all of a sudden the turnover after that.
Yeah, Dean Tyler, Ohio State held him inside the 10-yard line, and then the punt just changed the field position around. Almost even as far as the first downs, of course, 9-5, but the one turnover, Ohio State, South Carolina has been known to play to their kicking game and their defense. And Ohio State's got to do a better job in the second half of controlling the football.
Tyler Dean put an asterisk by that play, a 70-yard kick, when it appeared as though the field was going to be good offensive possession or field position for Ohio State. Unable to do it with the 70-yard punt. And then came the turnover, and it led to the first score.
We've talked so many times about, as a coach, when you come out in the second half, the first 5 minutes, and sometimes that's true, but I think it's more true today than I can remember for a long time. Ohio State really has to get something done here early in this third quarter. They got to set the tempo, because South Carolina's had their way. They're smelling blood, and they're going after Ohio State.
Josh Houston has the ball teed at the 35-yard line. Watson and Brewer, the two deep men for the Gamecocks. This is going to be a line drive kick taken by Brewer at the 6. And he'll take it across the 20 to around the 21-yard line. Marco Cooper on the special teams making the stop.
Yeah, Brian Scott has had his way. 6 receptions in the first half, working against the 2 new corners for Ohio State. Phil Petty's been right on the mark. Injured last week. Here's a good catch where he kept his feet in bounds. And then the touchdown pass and the fade. Just all alone on that play.
Well, I'm happy to report that C. Grant is obviously better. He had a knot on the back of his neck, a reoccurrence of part of that injury he got at Minnesota. But he is in and starting the second half. Quick out pass to Watson, and he drops the football, trying to see where he was going to run before he caught it.
One thing you got to do to South Carolina is you got to stop them right here, and you got to get some kind of turnovers, because they play so air-free. And I keep saying about how they play all 3 of the games, the kicking game, the defense, and the offense. They play to each other in harmony. Tough team to beat, and when they don't make mistakes.
Play action by Petty. That pass complete to a wide-open Thomas. Matthew Thomas, the freshman. And let's check on the sideline with Adrian Karsten.
All right, Ron, in the South Carolina Gamecock locker room, concentration was the concern of the coaching staff, primarily because even as you saw in that first play when they came out, look the ball into your hands, tuck the ball away. Do not think that you have this game under control. Phil Petty with the bad left shoulder, Brian Scott with the bad left knee were used as examples, and coach says if those guys can play and play as well as they are, everyone else has to.
That's putting the task to him, and he's exactly right, because that's what they've done. Near sideline, Gauze, Andrea Gauze, the redshirt freshman from Conway. That's 4 times that they have dropped the ball today.
Well, on that play, he tried to run before he brought it in. He saw some wide open spaces there, and he tried to hit it.
Matthew Thomas dropped that one right in front of the bench in the first half, and he was undressed by his coach.
The thing about South Carolina, Pennington in the backfield, he's only had 3 receptions all year, so he's basically a blocker in the backfield.
And a ball carrier. Here he comes, near sideline, taking people with him, 255 pounds. And almost to the 43, Bullard, Cortland Bullard, defensively for the Buckeyes. Phil Petty's mom, Loretta, here with a large contingent of South Carolina folks. And we have seen a lot of cars with South Carolina license plates in this town the last couple of days.
Let's see if they go over here to Scott now. He's got C. Grant on him.
Same formation that they lined up in when they threw the fade route for the touchdown, and that's who he's going to. Hot route is to Scott. Hit once and then hit again by Mike Dawson, will be stopped. They're going to give him forward progress to the first down, although he's been pushed back to the 48.
Corner blitz by Ohio State. Brian Scott read it. ran the little short slant, first down. Phil Petty again making not many mistakes in this football game. Last year he was 9 of 19 for 175 yards. He's won as the quarterback at South Carolina 16 times out of 22 starts.
Petty from midfield. He's got somebody deep, and he's going to go deep. Caught by Gauze, and he'll score. Flag is down back at the 46-yard line. If it stands, it's a 50-yard touchdown.
Roughing the quarterback, roughing the passer. That ball had to hang up 5 seconds there.
The amazing thing about Gauze looking back up into the sun and caught it with ease. Daniel Weaver to attempt the extra point. Weaver tries to make it 21-0. Missed it, pushed it to the right. So there's a break in the action. 12 minutes, 56 seconds left in the third quarter. And South Carolina takes the second half kickoff, and they get some big work done with it. As you can see, Gauze just not covered very well. 20-0 Gamecocks. Standing room only at this 2002 Outback Bowl, and they are basking in some beautiful sunshine. The temperature is really not that warm yet. I think it's supposed to be in the upper 60s today before it's all said and done. As you can see, Snoopy 2 going behind the scoreboard there in a beautiful blue clear sky. Not quite as beautiful from the side of the field that the Buckeye faithful are looking at, because this game trying to get out of hand for them. Childress, Ben Childress. Now the MetLife Blimp Snoopy 1 is under the command of captains Brian Comer and John Conrad, with help from co-pilot Snoopy. The MetLife Blimp travels approximately 200 days a year, visiting cities and towns throughout the United States. And his mate Gauze, who caught that touchdown pass a moment ago, and it will indeed be Steve Belisari who will start the second half. And behind the line of scrimmage is Wells. He may have won and tripped up on Langston Moore.
Yeah, Langston Moore was untouched, Ron, and in the backfield, so there's no place to run for Ohio State. They're not controlling the line of scrimmage. And we talked about the offensive line. Charles Bentley is missed in this football game.
There's Charles on the sideline. All-American senior out of Cleveland, Ohio. Injured his shoulder against Michigan. Unable to come back. Hasn't done much here this week. That's the Hartsock to tie it in. Or Darnell Sanders, I beg your pardon, 89.
Kenny Harney on the tackle. Charlie Strong, the defensive coordinator, has just had a nice plan against Ohio State. He's making them work the field. He's not giving them anything big. No big plays. Stop the running game. Charlie Strong will be up for a lot of head coaching jobs. Was up for a lot last year and didn't bring one in, but he's doing an outstanding job with South Carolina's defense.
Gamecocks show blitz, and they do, and the pass incomplete. Gamble is who they were looking for. He's a freshman out of Sunrise, Florida, and it's punting time again.
Yeah, they're not even close on offense. And there's a lot of walking around on the Ohio State sidelines.
Andy Groom, his longest, 54 yards. Brewer, the deep man. Carolina with the return on. This is a dandy. I mean, a missile over the head of Brewer, and now takes an Ohio State bounce, and that thing's going to roll dead around the 6-yard line.
Andy Groom, and then maybe this is something to wake up Ohio State's football team.
This say something about maybe a little help with the wind. 68 yards on that one. The 70-yarder went the same direction. By the way, here's today's Outback trivia question. Who were the only 2 coaches to go winless in 8 straight bowl appearances? The only 2 coaches to go winless in 8 straight bowl appearances. Answer a little bit later on.
They had to have good teams because to lose 8 bowl games, they had to get there.
Andy Groom just set a new Ohio State bowl record. Tupa had the longest punt with 66 yards in the Rose Bowl, 1985. This one just traveled 68.
Tom Tupa, quarterback and punter for the Buckeyes.
The counterplay, and boy, there's nothing there defensively. The wall. Watson being shoved back.
Talk about Tim Anderson early in the ball game. He's played well on the defensive line. Joe Cooper, Matt Wilhelm, and the entire front of the defensive line has done a good job. Joe Cooper, number 10, dissects this play, beats the block, and then gets in there to help Tim Anderson. They need a turnover.
Last 4 drives from South Carolina. 8 plays, 36 yards, a touchdown. 9 plays, 63 yards, a touchdown. They lost it on downs, and in 6 plays and 78 yards and a touchdown. That's their last 4 drives. This is Ryan Brewer. Watson, beg your pardon. Watson spins into the arms of the tackler and goes down hard. Adrian Karsten will check with you.
Ron, right before kickoff, I told you that Joe Cooper based his season on coming back to this game. Voted most inspirational player. He has followed through on that. When he was off the field in that last offensive series by Ohio State, he did the best he could to get this group back in here. I have not seen a player more this season affect an entire unit the way Joe Cooper has today.
He is working hard and trying to get his teammates going. 6 tackles, a sack, and a forced fumble. But it's not on his side of the ball that the problems lie. Petty's pass complete to Watson. He'll have the first down.
Against Joe Cooper. And what Skip Holtz is doing with the play calling of South Carolina is using Watson as a receiver in this football game. Getting him matched against linebackers. There's Joe Cooper. Talked about he's going to have number 22 receiver. He's going to work down inside and out. And again, a lot of cushion for the South Carolina receivers.
Skip Holtz in his 3rd season, assistant head coach and offensive coordinator, and works with the quarterbacks. Petty this time puts it in the stomach of Pennick, and Pennick fights his way out to the 30. That's going to be a gain of 8 yards. Mike Doss makes the tackle finally.
You always talk to your teams about out physical and the other team, and South Carolina's done this so far in this football game to the 9-minute mark of the 3rd quarter. They've been more physical than Ohio State in this football game. The offensive line of South Carolina has not got their due. They have really done a good job up front.
You're right. Melvin Page and Travell Wharton, those big 2 tackles. Hall and Rivers, the guards. This pass caught by Brewer. Out of the 40-yard line and still fighting, and he goes all the way to the 44. The crowd's not booing. It's for Brewer. 14 yards. McNutt finally forced him out.
Yeah, Ohio State brings the best out in the Troy, Ohio native.
See that jersey ripped there behind. He last year, I'll never forget the outing that fella had, and you just kept saying too small, maybe not quite fast enough, and all he did, he just almost single-handedly whipped him.
He walked off with 2 trophies, the game trophy and the MVP trophy.
You're right. You're exactly right. High snap, but he brings it down, and Pennick nowhere to go. Wilhelm is right there, just hanging on to one of those big ankles. Tomorrow night on ESPN, Wednesday night hockey. Paul Korea and the Mighty Ducks of Anaheim taking on Brendan Shanahan of the first place Detroit Red Wings. Tomorrow night, 8 o'clock Eastern on ESPN.
South Carolina taking up a lot of time on this drive.
Two wide receivers to either side. Fakes it to Pinnock, not going to go on top, but he's got single coverage out there. It is incomplete. Looking for Matthew Thomas.
South Carolina receivers in this football game have done a good job adjusting to the football. A better job than Ohio State secondary, because that catch Andre Goss made, Ohio State had two defenders there, and Andre Goss really adjusted to the ball better than the secondary players of Ohio State.
I have a feeling those wide receivers are hoping that fourth quarter will hurry and get here so they stop after looking back up into that sun. Third down, they need the 46. Middle screen, here's Pinnock. That is a good open field tackle by Will Allen. Hard to do on a fellow that big, but he did the smart thing. He took his lower part of his body away from him.
And that's only the fourth catch for Pinnock this season. So trying to sneak him out of the backfield on the screen. Good hit by Will Allen, backup safety.
Ohio State #4, Chris Vance.
Vance, the deep man. Tyler Dean stands to punt. And that's a short snap, and they give it to Brewer on the fake. Got the first down and a lot more. Gets by Vance, and now still on his feet. Ricky Bryant finally made the tackle, but it's a fake punt and 35 yards.
Well, here's why you call that play, Ron. It's right around the 50-yard line, but you know your defense is in complete charge of this football game. Now, if your defense was being pressed, I don't know you'd make that call, but Ryan Brewer makes it a good play and picks up a first down, and they're going for the Ohio State's neck right now.
Ryan Brewer going off the field on the far side to hugs from his teammates. I'll tell you what, he is a football player.
Corey Jenkins into the game at fullback.
Now Phil Petty's going to call a timeout. Crowd's glad they are, so they can applaud him a little bit more. They are standing and cheering on the far sideline. 20-0 Gamecocks, and they are driving. Capacity house here today at Raymond James Stadium in Tampa, Florida, the 2002 Outback Bowl. 20-0, South Carolina leads it, and they are driving again. As they come back out, Phil Petty at quarterback. 10th play of this drive, and they throw the middle screen. Gauze taking it inside the 15 to around the 13-yard line.
Donnie Nicky made the tackle. And he was one of the players that was looking forward to the rematch against South Carolina.
Watson and Pinnock in the backfield this time. Pinnock the fullback. Watson's the right boy with a block by Pinnock, but Ohio State did a good job of bringing a lot of folks in a hurry out there to help. Pinnock did his job and just flattened the defender that he blocked. Frazier and Doss, so combining in the stop.
You'll see if Ohio State or South Carolina goes to the T formation here to try to get Pinnock in the short yardage offense, or whether they stay in the I. Well, they're going to go to the T. Pinnock's the guy they like.
Two tight ends, dead T formation, as Michael said. And Ohio State made contact. Ball into the end zone. Pinnock. I think it was Wilhelm who came across and made contact with the offensive line.
All sides on the defense.
So many mistakes.
Touchdown.
Score the touchdown for Pinnock. number 12 this year.
It looked like Ohio State even stopped in the middle of the play. South Carolina kept going. Pinnock is going to get the football. And there's nothing inside. They just couldn't bring him down in the secondary. Mike Doss just couldn't wrap him up.
Pinnock extremely strong at a low center of gravity at 5'11", 250, and they're going to go for 2 points since they missed the last extra point, trying to make it a 28-0 ball game. Keep an eye on Scott. He is at the bottom of your screen.
Yeah, they threw the fade for a touchdown right here earlier.
He's calling a timeout, Mike. He's out there working against McNutt, and South Carolina calls a timeout to make sure they got it right. And Lou doesn't look real happy at this second time out here so quickly.
It's a veteran football team. South Carolina. Good senior leadership on the field. Ohio State came down here, Ron, on December 21st, and reading some of the players' comments, they didn't want to be here on the 21st. They wanted to spend Christmas or near Christmas at their hometowns, and Jim Tressel decided to come down here early. South Carolina arrived on the 25th, and you know, sometimes you can be there too long, but just Ohio State just looks flat to me.
Well, Michael, here's the answer to the Aflac trivia question. Who were the only 2 coaches to go winless in 8 straight bowl appearances? Don Nalen, 0-8. That's 87 through 98. And Paul Bear Bryant, 07-1 between 1968 and 1975.
Yeah, pretty good class to be in there for Don Nalen.
For sure.
Don Nalen, Canton, Ohio native. That's a pretty fair football coach at Bowling Green, and West Virginia did a great job.
Yards after contact for South Carolina, and this goes back to what Mike talked about in the want-to in this ball game. Brewer, 25 yards after contact, and Pinnock, 14. Drills it for 2. Derek Watson from the slot. Gamecocks now extend that lead to 28-0. We'll be right back.
It's like for you?
I can't even tell you how happy I am. It's been, we've been rock bottom and now on the top, and it's just, you know, if we win this game, that's going to be just an all-time record for the school and for the team, and this is the greatest team in the world. I don't care what anybody says.
How has he described going from 0-21 to the experience of this 2 Outback Bowls 2 years in a row and the way he has played?
He's just so happy because, you know, he encourages the younger players. All the seniors are encouraging all the younger guys because they came into a winning team, and Phil has always said, you know, we know what it's like to be hungry, and you guys have got to step up and you got to continue this tradition.
The Gamecock fans satisfying their...
Okay, Adrian, I'm sorry your mic cut out there at the end, but very nice lady, and you can understand her pride. And, you know, conversely, the thing you also have to think of, there are a lot of parents here with Ohio State kids, and this is a bitter pill to swallow, the way things are going down 2 years in a row. But for the Gamecock fans, they did. They went through an unbelievable drop.
And you're looking at Phil Petty. He'll probably be the most valuable player in this game if nothing changes.
And the pass right there, complete to Vance. Going to be good for about 12 yards. 13 officially, they will now say. That tells it pretty well. She said, we've been to the depths, and now we feel like we're close to the mountaintop. And that's, parents go through a lot of athletes, and particularly on the college level. And a lot of folks don't realize the pressures that they have as well. Pressure right up the middle. Belisari going to be tackled. Knocked down by George Gauze. And I'll tell you something, you better just remember, number 99 with South Carolina. This kid supposedly runs a 4.5 and weighs about 245. And they say he doesn't know what he's doing yet, but once he learns, hang on.
On this play, he's actually held. They can't even hold him to get the sack on Steve Belisari. And you're right. He looks like he's got an acceleration for a defensive lineman, linebacker type.
I don't know if I believe the 4.5, but he is very, very quick.
I believed it on that play.
Belisari, heavy pressure again, and he's going to be caught by Harney.
Now it's getting worse for Steve Belisari in this football game. His protection is breaking down. Doesn't have time to find a receiver. Kenny Harney with a big-time play again on defense. Number 44 sits, now reads the play fake, now doesn't get picked up by anybody. And that's what I'm saying. There's too much standing around by Ohio State.
Belisari, long, looking for Jenkins, and he got it. Mike Jenkins
working against Sheldon Brown.
He kind of snuck around behind him, didn't he?
And Steve Belisari put it on the money then when he had time to throw. Ohio State protected him on that play.
Lydell Ross in the ballgame. Now remember, he's a freshman, but he's also from right here in Tampa, Florida. Play action to him, and they throw this pass to Vance. And Vance will advance it to the 30-yard line before Antoine Neesmith.
You're talking about Lydell Ross, and both you and I thought he may give him a spark because last year at this time he was a senior at Gaither High School here in Tampa. So it means something for him to come back here.
Mike, he started the season at Ohio State. Didn't necessarily start, but he played as a 17-year-old freshman.
He played well against Indiana. First start, had 124 yards and 2 touchdowns.
Well, that's going to be contact. I believe, yeah, Moore leaned across and bumped headgears with Mike Jacobs.
Prior to the snap, offside, on the defense, 5 yards. It will remain first down.
Now the 2002 PGA Tour tees off on Thursday at the Mercedes Championships. Tiger Woods and the rest of the field look to knock off last year's champion Jim Furyk. Coverage begins Thursday, 8 o'clock from the Plantation Course in Kapalua, Maui. Moore comes out and Thorne comes in replacing him. Draw play, and here comes Ross. Ross all the way to the 11-yard line. And that's exactly what I thought would happen. The kid's back home. You know, what, you're looking for a spark. Bring the kid in the ballgame. That's nothing against Jonathan Wells, but it's...
No, Jonathan Wells is a great running back. He has not had any type of holes like this is for Ohio State, but a good cut by Lydell Ross to the left side.
First down for the Buckeyes. The ball sits at the 11-yard line. Martin in motion. Belisari throws to the end zone. Too tall. Looking for Hartside.
Neesmith again on coverage. They ask him to do a lot of things. Blitzer, he plays the run very well and good coverage on that play. Craig Krenzel's coming into the ball game. They got both quarterbacks in the game.
So Belisari's going to line up at tailback. Krenzel will go under center. Blitz off the corner. Krenzel got by him. Now pointing out for some blockers, and he's going to take it to the 6-yard line. Moore finally stopped him.
They've had trouble sacking Craig Krenzel. Of course, he's 6'4", 215 pounds. He has made them miss a couple times in the first quarter.
So that makes it 3rd down. They can pick up a 1st down without scoring.
Steve Belisari got hit by George Goss.
I told people to remember George. He'll remember him. Here comes the blitz. Quick pass. Incomplete. It was there to Vance. Maybe a little bit behind him, but should have caught it.
Could have been caught. It's about how the day is going for the Buckeyes. South Carolina, very difficult team to score on inside the 20 this year. Maybe he'll come right back to Chris Vance here.
4th down, and here's the play. They need to take it to the 1-yard line to hold on to the football. Belisari. Flags everywhere.
Sheldon Brown
did him a favor. He just wrapped him up. And the ball was thrown so far, he never in a day could have gotten to it to catch it.
That's why it's tough to score on them down there. Sheldon's not going to let you.
Pass interference on the defense. The foul occurred in the end zone. By rule, the ball will be spotted at the 2-yard line. Automatic 1st down.
Sheldon Brown bites on the inside move by Chris Vance and does the wise thing when you're beaten that badly, just tackling.
Jonathan Wells back in the ball game at tailback. 10th play of the drive for the Buckeyes. Wells right side at the 1. Can't get it in. Belisari says I picked it up and scored. Faison made the tackle, and the official said nope, he was down.
Down on the 1-yard line. Probably the same play, Ron. On the right side to Wells.
Takes it to the right, hit from behind, and guess who? George Goss has had himself some kind of ball game, particularly in the 3rd.
And replacing Kalimba Edwards, the All-American, but I think they felt the same play was coming back too. Same formation, same motion, same shifting, same results. George Goss making the play.
12th play of the drive coming up. It's Tyson Walder, number 77, the big tackle who's lined up on the outside as the quarterback will keep it, and it's a touchdown, Ohio State. Steve Belisari takes it in. Nugent to attempt the extra point and try to make this a 21-point ball game.
Here's again, Ron, here's a sign that you just don't have a team that's concentrating. Here you score a touchdown and you don't have enough people on the field to kick the extra point. And
they got plenty of time. I say plenty of time. Darnell Sanders hustles on. 5 seconds, 4 seconds on the play clock. And the extra point is good. And with that, the end of the 3rd quarter. And as we head to the final 15, we will take a break with the score. The Gamecocks 28 and the Buckeyes 7. Now, welcome back to Tampa, the 2002 Outback Bowl. Filled to capacity, Raymond James Stadium. And South Carolina has drawn everybody up tight looking for the onside kick as we open this 4th quarter. Josh Houston, the kicker.
Big cover!
Kicks it away. It's going to be Ryan Brewer across, and he gives it over to Watson.
We get a holding penalty.
We've got two players going after it at the 35-yard line as well.
Holding on Pinnock.
Well, let's take a look at the ESPN game track brought to you by Outback. Petty, 17 of 28, 210 yards and 2 touchdowns. And then a fake punt. Brian Brewer. That led to the 4th score of the afternoon by South Carolina. Good for 35 yards. And the last 2 Outbacks, South Carolina 52-14 over the Buckeyes of Ohio State. And Pinnock is getting a lecture on the far sideline about that hold that you were just talking about.
Ohio State defensively is still in this football game if they could get a turnover here on South Carolina.
Watson comes in. Also, Corey Jenkins is back in the ball game, number 9. And they put it in his stomach, and he takes it to the left side, maybe a couple of yards. Adrian Karsten will check with you.
Ron, I'm with my very good friends from Outback Steakhouse, including Paul Avery, their president. Paul, we're very, very happy about the 4-year extension. We're going to be around to it.
Yeah, well, firstly, I'd like to thank all the Outbackers around the country for all they do. If it wasn't for their commitment of taking care of our customers each and every day, we wouldn't have the opportunity to do some of these neat things like we're doing here. And we're very proud to be a title sponsor again for another 4 years. It gives us an opportunity to showcase our wonderful town here at Tampa. And there's so many people who come together and make this the really successful bowl that it is. Also profiles our company with 2 of the premier college football conferences in America, and gives us an opportunity to showcase some great Outback hospitality. Yet Coach Holtz, who comes to us and says it's the most hospitable, most organized, most fun bowl that he's ever been to, it really says a lot. And also gets you back in town for another 4 years.
Fun to be back. I think Ron Franklin's got some leftover sirloin, as a matter of fact, Ron.
No, there's none left, Adrian. Oh, my. Those people do a fabulous job at this bowl game and make everybody feel extremely welcome. Well, Watson, there was nothing to the right, so
he showed great vision on that play.
Little ad-libbing, and his quarterback, Phil Petty, was back there to almost throw a block. He sent somebody off stride anyway. He gave it to Brewer, though, and Brewer holding on to the ball for dear life as they're trying to strip him. Gains 3.
When Mike Doss shows you how good a tackler he is, I mean, he's a hitter out of that secondary. Didn't wrap up on Brewer that particular play, but you can see the hard-nosed defensive back. He'll strike you. And Phil Petty, Ron, he's, look at Mike Doss here, the big plays he's made from this year. But I keep thinking about Phil Petty. He's been the difference in this football game.
They fake it to Brewer. He's got a man wide open deep down the field and couldn't pick him up, or didn't see. Matthew Thomas was breaking deep over the middle, and C. Grant couldn't make up his mind whether to pick him up, so he threw underneath to Brian Scott.
Brian Scott just couldn't get the field. The inside of the field is chewed up. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers game chewed it up, and they rolled it, and Brian Scott lost his footing in the middle of that field.
Did you see Matthew Thomas slinging his arms down the field like, hey, guys, I didn't have to look back in the sun. Get it to me.
He's begging.
Jenkins again at tailback. That was movement by the left guard. That's C.J. Fry, Jr. His dad is the track coach at South Carolina and has won a lot of honors. CJ has got a twin sister who runs track at Virginia.
On the offense, 5 yards. It will remain.
Adrian, let's go back down to you for more on the field.
Since September 1st, Ron, literally 17 games on this field. Now, they've done the best they could to get this field back in shape, especially between the hash marks. 1 inch below the surface, there is a synthetic fiber that tries to hold the grass together, but it's been very, very difficult to put together or put back in shape. On December 20th, they actually resodded right between the hash marks and did the best they could to have this field in shape for today's game.
Well, they've done a really good job to have that much traffic on it. No question about that. Petty going to be hit from behind. You see him wrap up the football to make sure he doesn't fumble. and only the second punt for South Carolina today.
And this is the area that
second sack, I beg your pardon. Yeah, they've had more because he had the 70-yard kick, his longest.
Tyler Dean, he belted the last one he kicked on this direction.
Only the second time that Ohio State has gotten to Phil Petty today. Now this one's not going to be nearly as good. Hits, but takes a big Gamecock bounce. Well, every year Lou Holtz has a tradition, and that is the day before the bowl game, the offense and the defensive coaches square off in touch football against each other. Lou played better last year, I can tell you. He will not be the MVP of this year's coaches touch football game. The players are laughing, and a few boos for the pass the head coach threw. Skip tried to get open here. Lou tries to make the touch, and he, I think, pulled something in his lower back. So that's about all the highlights we're going to show you right now.
He is faking an injury there.
Belisari drills the ball to his tight end, Darnell Sanders. And they'll spot him just across midfield at the 49.
Ohio State all of a sudden seems to be throwing the ball and catching a lot better than they did in the first half.
Mike, let me ask you a question. We got a measurement coming in here. 99, George Gauze, freshman, having to be pushed into action because of Columba Edwards and his injury. And the book on him gonna be very, very good. But the coaches, after the way he's played today, have to be extremely excited about spring football and to get him and start teaching him even more, because this kid is going to be a big-time player.
Yeah, true freshman. Played in 8 games this year, and they likened him to John Abraham, the good defensive player they had a few years ago. And you talked about his speed. He's got good size, but he looks like he can run. And when you're 6'5", 223, they're going to put some weight on him. But he runs very, very well.
He does look bigger than that. Somebody down in the truck just said that. And I saw another book that said he weighed 240. That was after Christmas, I guess. Jonathan Wells takes it to the 45-yard line, and he'll pick up the first down. Adrian Karsten.
Yesterday, Lou Holtz told me the one player they could not afford to lose or sacrifice to injury was Columba Edwards. We saw him get that knee blown out in the Florida game. Well, after he told me that, Ron, he went in and challenged his defense. He said, we're going to lose his talent, but his leadership more. So it's the other linebackers that he challenged, not only pregame, but at halftime today, to take the place of Columba Edwards, 6'6", 260, the All-American.
Okay, Adrian. Krenzel back in a quarterback, and he throws back to Belisari, and immediately he's hit, but he gets by the first wave of tacklers, and they say he's out of bounds at the 43.
Back up
A lot of people believe that Steve Belisari could have been a strong safety, free safety in college football. Special teams he's been on today. He's got good running ability. Steps out of bounds here, but has a future, I think, in the NFL. Craig Krenzel back in the quarterback.
Don't you think, Mike, that he will be used, that they'll try to teach him some work at safety, reserve quarterback, and to play special teams?
He's playing his last game at quarterback.
Off the corner comes the pressure now and bringing down. That's Jonathan Martin.
See, this is the thing about the young quarterback, Craig Krenzel. He doesn't see the blitz coming off the corner, and that's why the decision was made to go with Belisari. In the Michigan game, again, things worked out early in that ball game, and they got the lead in that football game, and Jonathan Wells had a big game. But Craig Krenzel does not see the blitz coming off the corner.
Krenzel comes to the bench. Steve Belisari checks back in. Clock runs. 10 minutes and 45 seconds left in this 2002 Outback Bowl. Belisari, far sideline, got single coverage, and it's caught by Jenkins.
That's concentration right there by Michael Jenkins against Kevin House, number 29. Kevin House never reacted to the football. Big cushion on Jenkins. House in pretty good shape, but just didn't punch high enough.
33 yards in the pass play, and it's first down.
That's a good catch.
Put the ball down at the 16-yard line.
A lot of time left in this football game.
Had him open, threw it too far. Chris Gamble, freshman out of Sunrise, Florida, the intended receiver.
He's the wide receiver. The Ohio State coaches, Jim Tressel, reminds him of Chris Carter. It's a pretty good name to be put in the same sentence with. State trying to get back in this football game.
Down by 21 points. Fake it to Martin. Here comes pressure on Belisari. Gets the pass wide open to Sanders, and he'll score. Jonathan Martin had a clear shot at Belisari and missed it. Nugent tries to make it a 14-point ball game. And he does. So we'll take a timeout. And our new score, the Gamecocks 28 and the Buckeyes 14. And we still have 10-18 left in this ball game. Don't go away. So we're back in Tampa, 28-14. It is a late wake-up call for the Ohio State offense. Do they have more in store? Take a look at this number. After beating Michigan and won the bowl in the same year, Woody Hayes 3-28. Earl Bruce 2 in 9 seasons. John Cooper 1 in 13. Meaning the year that they beat Michigan, did they win their bowl game?
Yeah, 3 pretty good football coaches. Now we'll talk a little bit about John Cooper a little later.
Angle kick. Fair catch is signaled for and is made at the 20-yard line. Reese Davis will check with you again.
Another Big Ten SEC matchup, Ron, in the Citrus Bowl. Mark, Tennessee and Michigan.
Casey Clausen, the quarterback for Tennessee, back in the pocket and looks for Kelly Washington, the 6'4" freshman. Tennessee's up 10-0. Rodney, what's happening in that Cotton Bowl?
It is still all about Oklahoma and the defense. Roy Williams getting it done there. The 10-2 Sooners blanking them. Look at that. Giving up nothing.
Arkansas, not much offense, guys. 10-0 Sooners on top.
Well, that's what we were alluding to at the top of the ball game after they scored that first 7. That defense doesn't need much help. Drop play to Watson, spun right into the arms of Mike Doss, and then Mike gets a lot of help from a lot of friends, including Robert Reynolds.
South Carolina, now you got to get your offense back in the mode that they were in the first half and early in the third quarter, and all of a sudden...
I'm not saying they're in danger, but you know as a former coach, you lose momentum sometimes, and it's the darndest thing to retrieve.
Oh, it's hard.
Hey, parallel to the stock market.
You're going to try to retrieve it. Try to retrieve it with Brian Scott.
Sometimes hard to get it back. Doss, 8 tackles, 7 of them solo. Make it one more on each side of the ledger. Mike Doss comes back and hits the quarterback and knocks him down. It's going to be 3rd down and a very long way for South Carolina.
This is the first time on the sideline Ohio State has shown any excitement. Mike Doss makes the tackle here on Phil Petty. And again, that puts himself in great field position here if Ohio State can hold.
So the Buckeye faithful up and making a lot of racket. Wanting the Bucks to put up a stop here and get some more points. Way up in the air and almost intercepted. McNutt went high in the air and almost pulled it away.
Good coverage again now. The special teams have to take over. Tyler Dean did not get a particularly good quick kick away last time.
One of the things Ohio State needs to do is the Gunners have done a good job for South Carolina. And number 4 has had a tough time, Chris Spence, of being able to take the football and go anywhere.
This might be one you go after, and Ohio State has blocked a few punts this year.
Goss has a couple. Line drive, and it's returnable. But just as he catches it, that's my point. The gunner did not do a good job, and now he's going to reverse his field. He's going to be tackled way back at the 27-yard line.
They're going to get that halo call, I believe, on South Carolina.
Crawford is the man. Crawford's been all over the place. 44 yards on the kick and minus 18 on the return. I mean, nobody has slowed him down. They haven't come close to having a return today because of number 8.
Here's the punt. Here's the penalty right here. They're going to call the halo infraction against Michael Flint. Crawford. Now Ohio State in great field position.
The people on this side of the field far more excited than they were back in that first half. Wild's going to be knocked down for a loss. And that's where Lydell Ross, with that quicker start, with the kind of penetration that South Carolina is getting, you got to go straight at them. That running to the side has not hurt them all day.
No, and Ohio State really didn't block the front of South Carolina and play. They got some penetration. John Stamper, pretty good defensive lineman. Dennis Quinn, Langston Moore, the front 3, pretty active.
Play action, got him open, and hits Jenkins. That's going to be enough for the first down.
Steve Belisari is all of a sudden now has looked like a different quarterback. It took him a while, but now he's throwing the ball on the mark. He's throwing on the cut of the wide receiver. The pass protection has come together for Ohio State. I mean, Ohio State right now offensively is playing a lot better than South Carolina.
First down, the new line of scrimmage, the 37-yard line of South Carolina. Belisari again, play action, gets this one out here to Vance. Vance gets by the first tackler, can't get by the second, and he stopped at the 30-yard line. George Gauze out there to make the tackle. But let's see, that's going to be a gain of 7 yards in the play. And you remember back in the first half, Mike, we talked about they kept playing behind the chains. Well, on these last 3 drives, they have played in front of the chains.
Lydell Ross in the football game at the tailback spot.
Makes it to Ross. Pass almost intercepted. Wow. Neesmith had 70 yards of beautiful green in front of him.
Got a hand on that football. Darnell Sanders, the intended receiver, trying to get him on a crossing route against the safeties. Jim Bowman, the offensive coordinator for Ohio State. Needs to come up with a big 3rd down play here. 2 down territory to get the first down.
Belisari, straight keeper here. Going to cut back into traffic. He'll have the first down at the 25. Langston Moore defensively.
And that's what Steve Belisari brings, a running quarterback on the option. They've run the option 3 times successfully today.
Mike, another change that Ohio State has made that I think has helped them tremendously. Tyson Walter, big number 77, they're lining him as the 3rd man out like the tight end. That time they pulled the 2 underneath people from him. He locked his guy off, and they got some running room. Belisari got it complete. 13-yard line, Mike Jenkins. First Ohio State.
The play fake that Ohio State has gone to, even though they have not run the ball successfully, is holding the linebackers and allowing Michael Jenkins to get open on the curl route.
Boy, Jenkins has come back home to Tampa and has set the place ablaze. 130 yards for him. That's Ross in motion.
Prior to the snap, false start on the offense, 5 yards, and will remain first down.
Well, that clock is beginning to move quickly. 6 minutes and 14 seconds left. But if the Buckeyes punch this thing in right here, this stadium is going to erupt.
And they got all 3 of their timeouts left. Their crowd is in the football game now. It's in the hands of number 8, Steve Belisari.
The snap, it's being kicked around. South Carolina, I believe they have recovered at the 20-yard line. Jeremiah Garrison makes the recovery, and it appeared Belisari came out too quickly.
Remember, LaCharles Bentley is not playing in this football game, the regular center. Mike Jacobs is the center. He's done a very good job all day. I don't know if Steve Belisari pulled out too soon. Couldn't tell. It looked like he pulled out too soon.
Yep. Well, the stage was set for a heck of a comeback. But the turnover, and that ball fumbled in midair by Watson, and he gathers it in, but it's loose and not picked up by Doss. And Doss will be tackled at the 10.
I think they're going to call that ball. No, they're going to call it dead. Ohio State ball on the 22-yard line.
He was definitely fumbling the ball as he came into the line of scrimmage. So the Bucks get another opportunity.
Both teams playing giveaway. Derek Watson never had this football. As a quarterback, you got to lay it in there like it's an egg. Doss came up with it. The 25-second clock might be what they're looking at, or the game clock. Ohio State has to take advantage of the turnover they were given.
Blitz off to corner, picked up by Wells, going for the end zone, got one-on-one coverage. And he's out of bounds at the 1-foot line. Jacobs.
When you go to 2 backs and run the I offense and play action fake, they picked up the blitz by Antoine Neesmith.
22 yards in the pass play.
Here's the protection. They block the corner off the short side. They get good pass protection. Then it's Neesmith versus Jenkins.
Fumble the snap. Belisari picks it up. Boy. 2 times in the last 5 plays.
Yeah, new center. It's just, you got to ride with the center. When you get the snap, can't be too anxious to get out of there.
Second down.
Ohio State with 3 timeouts left. A lot of time.
Watson looking on anxiously in the sideline. It was his fumble a moment ago that allowed the Bucks to get back in this.
Wells is a good back to go over the top.
Martin in motion. They give it to Wells. Right side. Touchdown, Ohio State. from making this a 7-point ball game. Stepanovic with an outstanding block to pave the way for the touchdown.
Steve Belisari has led this run. He has been very accurate in the throwing department.
Mike Nugent tries to make it 28-21. And he gets it. So we'll take a timeout. 5:02 left in the ball game. Steve Belisari, what a story. Buckeyes within a touchdown. Well, the Ohio State band playing away and trying to get their troops charged up. And a reminder, now in its 14th year, providing aerial television coverage of sporting and special events. The MetLife Blimp Snoopy 1 brings you aerial shots of today's game and the surrounding Tampa area.
Try to make an up backfield this kickoff with a fair catch.
Houston, and he pooches it. Tries to get it in the hold at the 26-yard line. Neesmith.
That was big right there. Neesmith smart enough to know he had time and not to fair catch that football. Wasn't high enough.
But then he ran out of bounds and stopped the clock.
Yeah, but he picked up that very valuable yardage.
So they will scrimmage from the 40-yard line. The situation, Ohio State trailing by 7 points now. 4 minutes, 53 seconds left, and they still have all 3 timeouts remaining. Screen pass. Ooh, lobbed that one up there dangerously. Reese Davis will check with you again.
Well, Ron, the Wolverines might need a Buckeye-esque comeback against Tennessee.
Reese, we've talked about the tall receivers. Here's the Smurf, Dante Stallworth, a 33-yarder that sets up a big score, Mark.
Quarterback Casey Carson's just going to sneak in over his sophomore center, Scott Wells. The score is 17-0, Tennessee over Michigan.
So the Volunteers probably ouching a little bit after that SEC championship game, and Phil Fulmer's got them in full stride. Running away, Cooper is going to make the hit on Pennick, and he'll stop him at the 45, and now it's going to be 3rd down and 5. And the folks on the near side of the field are going to let you know whether South Carolina picks up this 1st down or not.
Ohio State has done a better job on Brian Scott in the second half, the corners. They're going to send him into the short side of the field, and he's going to work against C. Grant.
That's the top of the screen where Mike is talking about. Yep, that single coverage. Pass, overthrown, Watson.
Well, Joe Cooper leveled Phil Petty. Never had a chance to complete that pass. Joe Cooper, Adrian Carson talked about him. He has played a great football game here for the Buckeyes.
And I'll tell you, he has continued to work, as Adrian talked about in the 3rd quarter, continued to work his teammates, saying, hey, come on, guys, we can get this done. Tyler Dean with his 6th punt of the afternoon. This is a really good driving spiral. Caught at the 8-yard line, and the tackle's going to be made at the 10.
They have still not blocked that to the left side, in the direction kick to the side, and Crawford makes the play again.
So there's a timeout. 3 minutes, 56 seconds left in our ball game. Ohio State is 89 yards away. Can they come back and tie it up? Stay with us. Special Happy New Year to all our men and women serving our country so bravely. MacDill Air Force Base here in Tampa is home for the Central Command and Special Operations for U.S. Forces.
We are all proud of them.
Oh, boy. For sure. From the 11-yard line, Belisari whips it out here in the flat. complete to Gamble, and he will finally get out of bounds at the 22. That is enough for the first down as Sheldon Brown makes the stop.
One of the fundamental routes you start a season with, the curl flat route. There's Ted Crawford.
Only 11 return yards on punts by Ohio State today. And folks, like today, he's individually responsible for it. He has been on every punt return just right there.
The directional punting that South Carolina has used has really stymied Ohio State.
That young man has earned his trip. Belisari, running room up the sideline. He'll get out of bounds. He's shoved at the 25 by Gauss.
And Charlie Strong not sitting back, playing heavy zone coverage anymore. He's going to bring people after Steve Belisari. They're going to put some pressure on him.
You know, we're going to... Let's see. Clock runs now stopped 3 minutes 44 seconds. Remember this game. 25 points by Georgia in that Outback Bowl game against Purdue. There's big Jamar Martin. That's a load coming at you, folks. Alford making the tackle. 256 pounds.
And that was a winning effort by Jamar Martin. He was not going to be stopped. He hurdled one defensive player. Steve Belisari again finding the right receiver. Now watch Jamar Martin just geared up. Little hurdle right there over Neesmith. And he would not be stopped. A bull in a china shop on that play.
From the 44. Quick toss, near sideline, complete to Vance. And Ohio State has come up with a formula that is really working, and that is short drop, quick pass.
Yeah, give credit to Steve Belisari on the offensive line. Now, we talked about Mike Jacobs filling in for LaCharles Bentley, and that offensive line being patched up. They're protecting Steve Belisari very, very well.
Look at these numbers, Mike. Second half, 14 of 19, 228, and a touchdown. Blitz off to corner. Belisari got it complete again at the 30-yard line. And here goes Gamble down to the 20. First and 10, Ohio State.
Willie Alford against Chris Gamble. Steve Belisari hitting those curl routes.
You could see big Jamar Martin picking up the blitzer Faison as he came off the corner. You're not going to get around Jamar real easily. Not unless you get a bus fare.
They got the same curl flat route out here, right here. Those two receivers.
Belisari throws it complete at the 10. They will give him forward progress. Vance has it to the 9-yard line. It is first and goal, Ohio State.
And don't forget the option down here, Ron, because Steve Belisari, even though he's throwing the ball very well, they've run the option inside the 5-yard line one time.
From the 9. Belisari, pressure off the backside, gonna have to hurry. Got a man open and he throws it complete. Sanders. Will try to tie this football game with 1 minute and 54 seconds showing on the clock. High pass. Kick is good. So there's a timeout. 1:54 remaining. I wouldn't have believed it at halftime. We are tied at 28 because of the play of this young man. the largest one was down at GMAC Bowl. That's right. Marshall trailed by 30. It was 38-8.
How about the Mid-American? 2 wins this year for the first time. They're going to finish the bowl season with a 2-0 record.
Mike, in a situation like this,
kick it deep.
You don't onside kick, do you?
No, I would not kick it to Neesmith either because he got it up to the 40 the last time. I'd kick it deep as I could kick it.
Going to come to Brewer's side. Ryan Brewer from the 7 and return to the left. Brewer knocked out of bounds at the 35 by Aaron Manchin. Coming up on Thursday, January the 3rd, College Game Day BCS Championship Preview, 7:30 Eastern from Pasadena. Chris Fowler, Lee Corso, Kirk Herbstreit with the final word before the BCS National Championship game is decided. Then at 8 o'clock in the Rose Bowl, it's Miami and Nebraska for the championship game. Mike, Adrian, and myself will be out there doing ESPN Radio in the National Championship game. The 35. Play action by Petty. Throws it complete. Short gain. Maybe 3 yards in the play to the 38-yard line.
Ohio State again swarming to the football, Ron. I still think they got to go back to Brian Scott.
Scott at the top of your screen working against C. Grant.
Right here, I still feel like you got to get the ball in his hands.
Blitz right up the middle. It's picked up nicely. Pass is thrown too far. Grant with the interception. Petty got racked.
Celebration is going to be against Ohio State, but it's going to really hurt them, Ron, here if that's the call. Or the sideline warning again. Now, the flag flew in front of the bench again, unless this is going to be a second warning. Tried to get the ball to Brian Scott, but Phil Petty just overthrew.
After the play was over, we have a dead ball, unsportsmanlike conduct against the team that intercepted the ball. It will be 1st and 10 after 15 yards for Ohio State.
They're going to call an unsportsmanlike on Ohio State. I just want to say this. We're obviously not pulling for anybody in this football game, but these kids, after playing the miserable first half they did, why not allow them to be excited? There was no dancing or anything.
No.
That's a horrible call. I'm sorry. And they're making the decision in this ball game, and that's wrong.
No, I agree with you. I don't like the call. Now, I don't know what exactly they saw on the field or whether coach came out on the field or what, but they were celebrating on the sideline and got to call, which is a tough call to get against you. Ohio State still has 3 timeouts left. They're still going to work this pass patterns over here.
Pressure up the middle, and they'll go with the draw play. This is going to go nowhere. Maybe a gain of 1 to the 19. Jonathan Wells. Dennis Quinn made the stop.
Ohio State taking a lot of time here. What they may be doing, Ron, is because of field position, they may say, hey, we'll take our chances in overtime. See if they run the ball here.
He's going to go way on top on this one. Jenkins collided with the defensive back, and it's intercepted. That's Sheldon Brown.
Interception. South Carolina.
Brown all the way back to the 30-yard line. Now let's look at South Carolina's situation. Daniel Weaver, his longest, 43 yards against Alabama. That was in 2000.
I don't understand the play, because they had both wide receivers tight, and I don't know what exactly they're trying to do other than throw the home run, which was very well covered. And that's the only way South Carolina could get momentum to get back in this thing. They had lost the momentum.
South Carolina needs about 10 yards to put themselves in position to win it in regulation and not have to go to overtime. Petty throws the pass, overthrown. Boy, he had Corey Alexander out there, but
somebody got their hand on him.
Yeah, got a hand out and grabbed at him. And he did the smart thing. He didn't throw it into harm's way. Will Smith, I know, was one of those pressured him, and it may have been Will.
South Carolina used 2 timeouts because of substitution problems in the second half, so they only have 1 timeout left.
Clock is stopped. 18 seconds remaining. We're tied at 28.
Ryan Brewer is the leading receiver for South Carolina.
Right over the middle. Ball is tipped.
Trying to get it to him.
Trying to get it to Brewer at around the 20-yard line.
You go back on that penalty. That penalty was big because that was the penalty that made the Ohio State coaching staff play a little bit more conservative than they wanted to play. On the first down, they ran the draw play, didn't get anything. The second play was a bust from the time it was started.
Scott was the man who tipped that ball on the last pass. 14 seconds left. On third down. Straight ahead with the running play. They'll take it to the 25, and now Bill Petty looks to the sideline and says, tell me when to call timeout. 7 ticks left on the clock, and they'll stop the clock and use their final timeout. And we'll take a break. 28-28. We'll have the decision when we come back. Look at the scoring by quarter. Ohio State trailed 28-0 with 5:38 left in the third quarter. At the conclusion of today's game, be sure to turn over to ESPN News for extended post-game coverage of this Outback Bowl game. But I've interviews from the field, stats analysis, and our final comments from here in Tampa.
Ron, I would expect Ohio State to use their timeouts here and just delay this kick as long as you can. 7 seconds to go. It ain't going to help you any.
This is going to come from the far hash mark, and it's going to be a 42-yard attempt. And Jim Tressel is doing just what Mike Gottfried suggested. They're going to call a timeout, try to ice him a little bit, make him think about it.
Well, it's been 2 different halves. South Carolina owned the first half. Ohio State owns the second half. Bill Petty played great through 3 quarters. Steve Bellisari really came alive in the second half, and you got to figure that one of those 2 guys is going to be the most valuable player of this game. But boy, a weird series on this last one now.
But as you said, caused by the penalty, which changed the field position, and the Ohio State coaches decided they were going to go a little more conservative. The first half, probably the amazing thing or most amazing about the comeback is in the first half, and there's no other way to put it. You can't candy coat it. They were miserable offensively in the first half.
And without doubt.
And to come back and score this many points in just over a quarter is truly a great comeback for these kids from Ohio State. Now we'll see if they can hold on, cause South Carolina to miss this field goal or get a block and send it into overtime. Daniel Weaver, sophomore from North Myrtle Beach, South Carolina.
Another timeout. Use them all.
So Ohio State calls another one. Still 7 seconds showing up there on the stadium clock. People on the near side of the field with their fingers crossed, and on the far side of the field, the South Carolina faithful, well, they have got their fingers crossed as well, but for a different reason. They want to see Daniel Weaver knock this thing home and everybody head and have a meal and maybe a little bit more celebration about the year 2002. Michael, what the biggest adjustment that you saw that Ohio State made, because it was a metamorphosis compared to the first half?
Yeah, I think they protected the quarterback, Steve Belisari, a lot better. They went to a slot formation, which is 2 receivers to one side, tight in the backside. Used both backs in protection, so they loaded up the protection. They got the curl flat route going, and receivers held onto the football. Steve Belisari was very accurate, and Ohio State had everything going in the right direction.
So Ohio State lines up, trying to block this field goal attempt of 42 yards. Got it. The biggest comeback in Outback Bowl history, coming from 28 points down. And look how close this thing was. I mean, it barely made it through the uprights as you'll track it coming home. Mike, that thing may have made it by 2 feet, and that's it. It's a good thing they were not at the 43 yards away.
No, that last couple yards they picked up with the draw. Came in handy.
Adrian Karsten, let's check in with you.
I'm one exhausted looking at Lou Holtz. Coach, how does this one feel?
I just give Ohio State an awful lot of credit to be down 28-0 and hang in there and never give up. That was a great effort by them, but it was a great effort by our players. I didn't think that we could stop the run as well as I did. I didn't think we could play the pass as poorly as we did, but let's give Ohio State credit. We found a way to win. What a heck of a ball game.
South Carolina, never in the history of college football program have you ever gone to overtime. What were you thinking with that little time left in the clock?
Well, I just never give up hope. I was hoping that Sheldon Brown stayed to the outside on that return, but you know, whatever happens, happens. That's all. You know, if it would have happened, you go in there, we'd worked on it, we'd practiced, we'd given it a thought, but you know, we beat a heck of a football team that really got hot, and I give them credit. But what a great game for our South Carolina. You know, we're 9-3, and I'm proud of our football team.
Ron, sincere and congratulatory statements between both coaches right after the final gun.
Okay, well, our Capital One player of the game. Quarterback Phil Petty, 19 of 37, 227 yards, 2 touchdowns, and 1 interception. So the final score, South Carolina wins it 31-28 with no time on the clock. Be sure to tune over to ESPN News in just a moment for extended Outback Bowl postgame coverage. For Mike Gottfried and Adrian Karsten and our entire ESPN crew, I'm Ron Franklin. This has been a presentation of ESPN, the worldwide leader in sports. And congratulations to the South Carolina Gamecocks, champions of the 2002 Outback Bowl.